Is there anything more unsettling than a deserted amusement park? It's a site where children's laughter and laughs used to fill the air, and where vividly colored Ferris wheels and exhilarating rides left indelible memories. However, after being abandoned, the parks become apocalyptic sites of crumbling rides and roller coasters, being reclaimed by Mother Nature. Nothing says weird like an abandoned amusement park, from the eerie to the terrifying. The juxtaposition of a once family-friendly attraction and what's left behind gives haunting a whole new meaning. Ruins that have been invaded by nature are like rotting memories of what once was, while amusement parks that are deserted are terrifying. There are an astonishing number of abandoned parks all across the world, and some are creepier than others just because of how they died. The world's top 5 creepiest abandoned amusement parks are listed here. 5. Disney's River Country, USA. Walt Disney World's first water park was Disney's River Country. The park, which was themed as a rustic, old-fashioned swimming hole and was located along the shores of Bay Lake near Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, was themed as a rustic, old-fashioned swimming hole. It first opened on June 20, 1976, and closed indefinitely on November 2, 2001, with the Walt Disney Company starting on January 20, 2005 that the park will be permanently shuttered. With nearby Discovery Island on the lake closing in 1999, the water park became the second of only 2 Disney parks to close permanently in the company's history. The park was featured in a musical number from the 1977 Wonderful World of Disney episode The Mouseketeers at Walt Disney World, which featured the then current Mouseketeer lineup from the late 1970s incarnation of the Mickey Mouse Club enjoying its attractions and included a song titled River Country. The park had a sandy bottom and an innovative water filtration system that used confluent water from Bay Lake, which had been walled off to create a natural-looking artificial lagoon. The park's water level was higher than the lakes in an attempt to keep lake water from entering the park. At River Country, there were a number of people who died. In 1980, an 11-year-old child suffered an amoebic infection of the brain after drinking contaminated water. Similar amoebic infections were reported elsewhere on a regular basis, and park officials argued it was an inherent problem with freshwater. Lakes in warm weather and hence could not be blamed on the park's water system. In the same month, 3 additional youngsters in Florida died in a similar manner. The other 2 deaths, in 1982 and 1989, were due to drowning. 4. Land of Oz, North Carolina. You won't want to follow the yellow brick road in North Carolina's Land of Oz because it will bring you to one of the country's creepiest locations. When it first debuted in 1970 as a 16-acre Wizard of Oz theme park, the Land of Oz was a huge hit. However, interest in the park began to wane soon after it opened, and it became nearly desolate. The park was then officially abandoned after a fire in 1975 devastated portions of the area. The Land of Oz still opens its doors for a few days each year around Halloween for those courageous enough to venture inside. 3. Spree Park, Berlin. Southeastern Berlin's Spree Park has been abandoned since 2002, and it appears to be abandoned. The park is littered with relics from the previous 3 decades, resulting in a weird mix of bizarre entertainment, children's rides, and life-size dinosaur statues. The culty was built by East Germany's communist government in 1969 as the VEB Kulturpark Planterwald and stood until the fall of the Berlin Wall 20 years later. With 1.7 million visits per year during the communist era, it thrived. Norbert Witt, a notorious amusement park operator, took over the park in 1991 and renamed it Spree Park. He constructed a number of attractions that he purchased from the insolvency of the Mirapolis amusement park outside Paris and transferred to Berlin, replacing the mostly asphalted area with a grass and water setting. Witt altered the scenery several times, including the addition of an English settlement. Witt had also become involved in smuggling cocaine, disguising it in pieces of ride equipment transferred between Peru and Germany during his term as park administrator. Much to the surprise of police and Berliners, Spree Park was closed to the public in 2002, partly due to its criminal activities and partly due to low visitor numbers. Wood was tried on smuggling charges 2 years later. As a result of the closure, the amusement park gradually fell into disuse and was eventually taken over by nature. The park was featured in the film Hannah, and the primary attractions are highlighted in the film's climax. After a fire in 2014 caused by arson destroyed a number of features, security was beefed up with a new surrounding fence, as well as permanent security guards and dogs. The site was taken over by Grunberlin GmbH, a business controlled by the city of Berlin, in 2016, with the goal of developing it into an arts and culture destination. Plans were suggested in late 2018 and are expected to be implemented in the coming years. Many of the park's prior attractions have been dismantled as of May 2019. The Ferris wheel and the Fresswürfel restaurant from the Culty period, as well as the Spreeblitz roller coaster, the Cinema 2000, the English Village facade, the Cup Carousel, and the artificial rock of the Grand Canyon Wild Water Ride from Norbert Witt's Spree Park period are still present. 2. Lake Shawnee, USA. The Lake Shawnee Amusement Park is a former amusement park at Lake Shawnee in Princeton, West Virginia, United States. The park, which opened in 1926 and closed in 1967, was open for 40 years. It gained notoriety as a result of at least 2 fatalities on the property during its existence, which sparked urban legends about the park being haunted. In an early example of the Indian burial ground cliché, a total of 6 people died. After landowner Mitchell Clay's children were attacked by Native Americans, the property on which the amusement park was built was the scene of a slaughter. 2 of the youngsters were killed, while the third was apprehended and transported to Chillicothe, where he was burned at the stake. C.T. Snitto, a West Virginia entrepreneur, bought the land in 1926 and began creating an amusement park for the residents of Mercer County. The park, which included a Ferris wheel and a swing ride, was popular with residents of the county, particularly families of coal workers. There was also a swimming pool, a racetrack, snack booths, a dance hall, and overnight cottages. A failed health inspection forced the park's closure in 1967. Gaylord White, a former employee of the park, purchased the land in 1985 with the intention of reopening it, and it was briefly reopened in the summer of 1987. After a 1988 archaeological investigation found various Native American artifacts, as well as human remains on the site that had been buried prior to the arrival of Anglo-European settlers, the park was forced to close. A total of 13 skeletons, largely of young children, were discovered. White revived the park for a short time, but it was closed after 3 years. The park has held guided paranormal excursions since its closure. The park was included on the television series Scariest Places on Earth, which aired on ABC Family in 2002, due to these local stories. The abandoned Lake Shawnee Amusement Park was also featured on the Travel Channel's Part 5 episode of Most Terrifying Places in America in 2010. Lake Shawnee Amusement Park was also included in a haunted place on the Travel Channel's paranormal TV series, Most Terrifying Places, in 2019. The park was also featured on the History Channel's paranormal TV show The Unexplained in 2019. In a 2021 episode of Portals to Hell with Jack Osborne, the park was highlighted. 1. Six Flags, New Orleans. Six Flags New Orleans is an abandoned theme park in New Orleans, located near the crossroads of Interstates 10 and 510. It first opened as Jazzland in 2000, and after the previous operator's bankruptcy, a leasing agreement with Six Flags was established in 2002. Six Flags committed $20 million in the park's renovations, and it reopened in 2003 as Six Flags New Orleans. The park was closed 8 days before Hurricane Katrina made landfall on August 29, 2005, and it was never reopened due to severe flooding that displaced 20,000 people and killed nearly 2,000 people. Several rides were saved and transported to other Six Flags parks. The land is owned by the New Orleans Industrial Development Board, IDB, which is in charge of redevelopment plans. The site remains abandoned and in terrible condition after multiple failed redevelopment projects. Over the years, thrill seekers and YouTubers have posted videos and images of the site. As a result, local officials increased their efforts to secure the park and prohibit tourists, tasked the New Orleans Police Department with patrolling the abandoned site and apprehending criminals. Following concerns from surrounding homeowners, the city looked into demolishing and clearing the land, which would cost $1.3 million. Meanwhile, the city continues to profit from the park by occasionally renting it out as a filming location to various production firms. It's an apocalyptic scene that's been exploited by Hollywood for films like Jurassic World and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's all for today. See you next time with a lot more. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.